So good afternoon, everyone. I recognise everybody's faces, so I don't really need to introduce myself. This is all about preventing, stopping those ghastly cancellations. Hands up, have we had cancellations? Yes. Me too. And it can be quite infuriating, can't it? In fact, I've just sent out, along with invoices for the Dorset County show, I've sent out and asked for feedback because it'd be interesting to know what's going on. I am not making excuses, but I think we're in weird times. All right, this is for all of us. So we had a government that threatened us all with an 80% price cap rise on the 1st of October. I tell you what, it was scary. It was seriously alarming. We'd already had 54%, hadn't we, on the 1st of April? And they were talking about 52% on the 1st of January, 17.5% on the 1st of April. I'm not quite sure where they think money's coming from. But nobody that I know has had those kind of price increases in their wages. Yeah. So I suppose you could say it's with relief that Liz Truss has come along. I'm sure it's designed to make it look like they're the good guys. But she's come along and said, no, we're going to cap this rise for 2 years. Now, that's great news, ladies and gentlemen. And it's basically a 26.8% rise above now. So if you look at this time last year to the 1st of October, we have to be honest, people are paying double what they were. You know, and energy is the biggest proportion, isn't it, of what's going out of that house in terms of their various utilities and services. It's huge. So what I'm trying to say to you is, I think we also have to be a bit fair on some folk. When people are very confused, they do nothing. They're like bunnies in the headlights and they're very, very scared. All right. And I think for some folk, it's been, oh, do you know what? I want to wait and see. Anybody else had that? I have.
Yeah.
Now, I've actually done 2 appointments by Zoom, one because I was not going to drive to Plymouth. All right. And it was a great appointment. And she said, look, I really need my husband on this. Well, I needed her husband on it in the first place. And I did try and say that to her, but you know, they know better. And then they kind of say, to run this by my other half. And you think, oh, you could have spared me this. And you've already said that, but you know, but also in this instance, this lady turned around and said, because it was just as it was announced. Well, I'd like to see what's going to happen anyway, because it's all changing. And I think that's a valid thing for these people. So if you are feeling mentally beaten up, please don't feel quite so bad. I think there's too much happening out there that's making it difficult for people. All right. So I'm kind of saying that I'm giving us all that little bit of leeway because we're not in normal times. But what have we got that means we can stop cancellations with confidence? And I am going to go into the details of the stopping the cancellations. We can say wholeheartedly, it's going to be worth their while because we are the UK's cheapest. We're the only company that can offer up to under 5% under the government's price cap. Guys, you know that that's with the double gold, don't you? Variable. Yeah. That's energy plus 2 services. Okay. So that is a statement of fact, not fiction. And it means you can have confidence with that. Because what's the number 1 priority in most people's houses? It's energy. All right. So that's something that means we can speed ahead. Now, let's get to the nitty gritties. So it could be you're talking to somebody on the phone. You've rung up to make the appointment. It could be that you're face to face. You could be at a show. You might be face to face with somebody and It's all about getting that appointment. Now, let's give you some psychology here. When they are complete strangers, even when they're recommendations, they've come through a referral, we are still strangers, complete strangers. We haven't yet built fabulous rapport. Now, it's better when we're face to face on the stand because there is a chance to build rapport, okay? So when we're talking on the phone, and please notice I'm saying talking, I'm not saying texting, WhatsApping, Facebook messaging, and all the other things that there are out there, which means that you type a message and it goes and it's one-way communication and it doesn't come back until, who knows? It could be minutes, it could be hours, it could be days, weeks, because that's the problem with texting. So now we're talking about talking. Talking is two-way. Why the phone? The phone or face-to-face or Zoom, brilliant, is because, and please notice, you've seen how animated I am. You can't do this in text. It's impossible. What you're out to do is be yourself. We talk about being yourself, being personable, okay? And only talking does that. So there comes a point when usually I've sort of said to someone, look, your friend was just absolutely delighted with the savings. Now, I can't tell you how much they saved because everybody's circumstances, financial situation, house, bedrooms, kids, and all the rest of it are different. But I haven't yet been in front of someone where I've not saved them money. That's what I say. And wouldn't it be better to have more money in your pocket to spend on the things that matter than gas and electric? Because I can promise you, I cannot make the electricity any better down the cables. And the gas is still the same that comes down the pipes. So why would you pay more when you could pay the least? What a great way to get their understanding, because sometimes it just doesn't work out like that. And my other half one came out with a fabulous statement. And he said, say to them, look, if you bought a Mars bar, why would you pay 75p when you could pay 40p? It's the same Mars bar. Perhaps give it to them in really simple terms, yeah? So then they say, okay, yeah, great. So I say, great, we need to meet. Now on the stand, I've gone through my bill. I've shown them how everyday spending has meant that it's eliminated our phone and broadband and mobile. And then I usually say, stupid question, would you like your everyday spending to eliminate the cost of your services? To which they say, well, yeah, of course I would. And I say, great, we need to meet. Please note, that is not my line. It's Rob Barris. I heard it from him donkey's years ago. And I thought, what a fantastic line. Great, we need to meet. Because they've already said basically, yes, please don't ask them for an appointment. It's so salesy. You know, oh, can I have an appointment with you? It's straight out of a sales manual, isn't it? Yeah, great, we need to meet. So now what you're doing is a negotiation, and you're doing something called the alternative close. And the alternative close is where you give somebody choice, because people love choices. And so you're looking at your diary, they don't see it, and you can say, so do you work during the day? And if they're elderly, you're probably sure they won't. Although I must admit, I find that senior people do fill their time with much more pleasant things than work. And some of them are even more busy than they used to be. Okay, so it's never an assumption they're sat at home idle. I always try and get a day appointment if I can, because that's better for me. So I say to them, oh, great, so I can see you during the day. Or if they say no, I say, so I'm assuming we're down to maybe evenings or perhaps weekends. Yeah, so all the time it's flex, it's complete flex. Okay, so let's say they say, oh, I work during the day, it has to be an evening. Now I can tell you that earlier on today I followed up on a referral. It was a dad recommending to a daughter. This woman has been the hardest person to get hold of. I have rung 5 times. Some of you might have given up, I think, at 2 or 3. But I've sort of thought to myself, Dad keeps saying to me, she's just hopeless. She just doesn't answer her phone. And I've got to say, when I spoke to this young lady, she was damned hard work. Have you ever met people that seem to have 4 mouths and 1 ear? Because she just talked over me the whole time. Oh. And it's very, very hard. So I'd let her finish and then I'd say, right, can I just say to you, I'm really busy like you are. And I have to run to a strict diary. My time is obviously very valuable. And I give it out, but I give it out to people that value it. Now, I don't know whether you got that written down, but it will be on the recording. What you're doing here is trying to add value to you, because some people will let you run rings around them. And if you are too kind of, I can work around you, do you know what? They will play you along. And this is where you lose appointments. So I'm building what I call value on me as a person and my expertise. So I said to this lady, look, I'm so sorry, but I'm just not available all the time. Evenings are at a premium. There are only 5 in the week. 2 of mine have already gone already. So actually, I hate to say this to you, but we're going to have to pin it down. And all I've got available is Thursday or Friday. Which is best for you? Do you know, she talked over me. She actually talked. Well, I've got the kids, I've got the dogs, I've got the horses. And she went off. So then when finally it came to a halt, I said, yeah, I hear everything you say. So perhaps it's got to be after kiddie, doggy and horsey time. I said, maybe later in the evening, say 7:30, even 8 o'clock. Oh, she said, would you mind coming round that late? I said, no. I said, if it makes it a nice quiet that you can sit and take in information, because I said, I want to show you everything so you can make a proper informed decision. Now, this is letting people think they've got power. It's giving them power. Letting them, I'm going to give you all the information and you can make a proper informed decision. To which she finally went, oh, that would be fabulous. So she's texted me and said, Friday, 7:30. I finally got there. Now, what have I done? Normally it would be over the phone talking, because she was out to get me off the phone and I could tell, because I could hear nothing but, Billy, come back here. Billy, do this. Billy, do that, right? So I've written back to her on text and said, Friday, 7:30, are you absolutely sure there is nothing that will get in the way? Because if I give you this allocation, it means everybody else has lost it. Now, this is consolidation. When I'm face to face or I'm speaking on the phone, we come to a time, I say, can I see you during the day? They say, no, it has to be the evenings. I go through what I'm saying. So finally we come to an agreed time. It could be Wednesday night at 7, to which you pause. This is how you consolidate. You pause and say, look, if I had £1 for every person that books an appointment with me, and then they've forgotten that Aunt Thelma's visiting, or they've got a hair appointment, or whatever it may be, you can come up with something. Say, I'd be a very wealthy woman. would you mind checking your diary or your calendar? Because what you're out to do is consolidate this. You're out to stop it cancelling. Because in the scheme of things, we are very low priority on their list. In their, oh, excuse me, private number, they worry me. In the scheme of things, they are very, very low priority. We are low priority because they've got so much going on in their lives. And you know what? That is not untrue. Everybody's busy, aren't they? They're up to the rise in all sorts. And they've got all this other stuff going on with the government and everything that's happening. So what we've got to somehow do is pin some value of our time, especially if we're also going to get in the car and drive there. I tend to find that, oh, excuse me one moment. Sorry about that, guys. Gosh, some people don't give up. Right, so where was I? Please help me recap. Ah, yes. So we're trying to breed value. And if you don't do that, if you don't do the pause, if you don't explain to them that, you know, it's building appointments, you build everything else around these, don't you? We bother. I know that we bother to make ourselves, you know, we might shower, put on fresh clothes. My God, we get stuff ready. I'm prepping. I'm looking to see what broadband speeds they've got. I'm making sure I know where I'm going. There's a lot of work goes in. It's not just we turn up. Now, I'm going to say this to you. You get less cancellation on face-to-face than you do Zoom. And I'll tell you why. Because people think, oh, well, she didn't actually go anywhere, did she? Yeah, this is the big problem with Zoom, is they don't realize it's as good as being face-to-face, that you are giving up your time. You've set that time aside, nobody else can have it. And if they go and let you down at the last minute, actually, it's a thorough inconvenience, is it not? So the only reason, if you now think about this, the only reason they're cancelling is whatever we personally haven't added value. We haven't consolidated. And I know that's pinning it on us, but it's true. Now, listen, I've had them happen. It absolutely does my head in. I think, you miserable so-and-so, how dare you let me down? Now, there are sometimes valuable reasons. An emergency can happen. They do. Oh my gosh. Sometimes you cannot write these emergencies that happen. They're true. Hey, everybody gives people that, don't they? You know, you have to. But it's when you get the runaround. Has anyone had somebody what I call go into witness protection? Yes. 1 minute they want you to be there, and then all of a sudden they don't even answer the phone. All right, now they are the worst. They really are the worst, because you don't know where you are. Saying that, I have had people in the past that they haven't answered the phone. Their wife has answered the phone. And it's been on a couple of occasions, just, I call it unfortunate circumstances, genuine circumstances, where I remember one guy, it was his sister had turned up. She'd come down from Leicester, turned up literally an hour on the door, didn't let him know. And I was due to be there. And I got this text message, sorry, I can't make. And I remember thinking, really? So I rang and his wife answered and explained. Now, that's genuine. I did eventually get the appointment. That's genuine. Stuff like that happens. People get ill, yeah? Or maybe they might get a doctor's appointment that comes in and replaces one that they should have had later. And, you know, it's brought it forward. That stuff, look, that's real. But it's when you are just not getting through, that you think you've made an appointment and you haven't really. So I want to now say to you, are you doing this consolidation stuff? Are you being firm but fair? That's what you've got to think. Or have you maybe bored them to tears when you've spoken to them and they're actually thinking, oh my God, I don't want that person turning up in my house. Hey, it's a possible. Let's give you another reason why people cancel. Maybe some of you know this. Have you ever thought they don't want you in the house? They have a panic that actually their house just isn't up to scratch. All right, now there is that. The other thing too is that all of a sudden after the event, it all seems like a great idea. Oh God, yeah, I want to reduce my bills. And then the reality is they might look at a few things and realize they're seriously in debt. They owe hundreds and hundreds of pounds. They just don't want to admit it. Hey, come on, this is real too. All right, we meet this stuff, don't we? And they don't want to let you know that that's the situation. Okay, so there are other good reasons why it happens, but if it's happening repeatedly, you have to bring it back to you and say, what is perhaps happening that I'm not getting these appointments? Am I too flippant when I'm on the stand? Am I not really consolidating? Have I not built enough rapport with somebody? Or have I not kind of, who's heard of national network leader Stephen Longworth? This man is seriously skilled. Many years ago, he said something on stage and I remember hearing it and thinking, gosh, that's true. He says, people will not buy our test. If they hear any doubt in you at all, that you're not sure you know what you're doing, or you could be just kind of pulling the wool over their eyes that this is a bit of a waste of time, a bit of a blag, then they won't buy it. They don't buy our test, he says. They buy our confidence. So think about, do you come over as confident, or are you always showing that you're not quite sure? Because that is also another reason that people will not engage. All right, so unmute. We've got some minutes. I want you to come back at me now with things that maybe I've not covered. All right, I want you to come back at stuff in terms of this whole thing. Do unmute and ask me anything that you want to know, because I know this stuff. This is the most important part of anything we do. Get this bit right, and usually once we're in the door, it follows through.
Confidence comes with experience, doesn't it?
Correct. Oh.
Right. So in order to have experience, you need to have done either your research, or you need to know what you're talking about. And I think a lot of us have problems in that respect, because we go in sometimes thinking, well, I don't really know the answer to that.
Okay, but before you go in, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know what they're going to ask.
True.
So what is the confidence that you need initially? The confidence of knowing we have the UK's cheapest gas and electric. That's a fact. But when people take most of the services, if they embrace the discount club, they're going to laugh all the way to the bank. And that's a phrase I say to people. People that embrace this discount club, customers say to me, they just love the fact that their everyday spending is now eliminating their services. It's called being smart with your money. Would you like to be smarter with your money? These are the sort of confident phrases that can make the difference when you're on that call, making that appointment. Those are the things that make the difference. Does that stuff help?
Yeah,
It does.
And I know it's like sometimes turning up. Do you turn up and think, I don't know whether I'm going to get this? Or do you turn up thinking, well, I'll walk out with all the services? Now, I actually believe every appointment I'm going on, I'm going to walk out with all the services. When on the odd occasion it doesn't happen, I am genuinely gobsmacked. Because I'm that confident that what UW's got is the best. Now, I had one from the Dorset County show, a young couple living in St Ives. I tell you why it was hard, because he wouldn't engage. He was sat almost in another room. He was there, but he wouldn't watch and look at anything. But every so often he chipped in. Anybody had that kind of thing happen?
Yeah.
It doesn't make it easy, because he knew everything about everything, but he actually knew nothing about anything.
Nothing.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
that was a difficult appointment, and I never got it, even though I showed them masses of savings. But do you know what? What happened the very next day? Liz Truss comes in and changes everything. So I've now been trying to get hold of them, but obviously now I'm coming in at a different approach, because previously it was about, wow, the savings were massive, weren't they? They were huge. They're not as big now. Do we know what kind of savings we're looking at? It's not enormous in gas and electric. And on the Ascenders group, Steve Henderson actually said, please ask Stuart himself and me if you want some skills now, because now this is back to normality. Yes, we are the cheapest, but it's not going to be, they're not going to see hundreds and hundreds of pounds. They're not going to see that now. We are the cheapest, and why would they want to pay more? But what can we do for them? We can offer them unprecedented customer service like they've never known, simpler billing, and please don't underplay that, because I actually really show them. I click on my app and I say to them, look at that. See that? I know I've got the paper one, I printed it off, but look at that. I can go back 20 years and pick up any bill I want. Do you know the hardest thing I find with folk is trying to find their damn bills?
Yeah.
And even when they find them, they can't, they don't know what they're looking for. It's all over the place. Don't underplay this. You know, this is what makes the difference. This is the stuff that you can have confidence with. And then I say to them, so why would you pay more? And look, everyday spending. Do you ever get them that say, oh, well, I don't spend that much? So I look at them and I say, does that mean you don't eat? Does it mean you don't fill up the car with fuel? Do you never, ever go out for a meal at the pub or and have a drink? Do you know, I just don't believe that most people just live at home and don't do anything. It's just not true. Why do you think they won't want to take the cashback card? Anyone got any ideas?
Because they think it's another card to remember, something else. They already have a fistful of cards and it's another one.
Correct. Now you've got to show them, remember, how this is the card to use. I show them a fistful of cards in my purse, and there are a load, all right? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bank accounts, crazy. But I say to them, do you know what? This is the one I use, because this is the one that gives me added value. This is the one that my accountant says Lindsay, makes me smart with my money. And my accountant, who's an ex-HMRC tax inspector, tells me this is free money. They say to me, what do you mean? And I say, well, look, you've already earned it. You've already paid the tax and insurance. This is the money that finally our government allow us to keep. Then we go and spend it. Now we are earning some money and we're not paying tax and insurance on this. It's worth 30% more at least.
I think
£600 a year that he says I get is actually worth 900. You've got to help them see what they can't see.
find a company, don't take them on anymore.
Does that make sense, folks?
Uh,
Does that help you have a little bit more sort of confidence? You know, because what we've now got to do, we've got to show them something different. It's a unique offering. Personally, I can't imagine going back to life and having different services with loads of different companies. Do you know what? It'd do my head in. Oh, and I do know that you will get some folk and they'll say, I don't want all my eggs in one basket. Anyone got that?
Yeah.
You know what I say to them? So what makes you say that? Ask them. And they usually haven't really got, oh, well, I like to be in control is usually the one that comes back. And I say, do you know what? You've got more control in this situation because let's say, for example, you weren't too happy about a payment for, say, your broadband. The fact that you've got a direct debit that covers the broadband, the mobile, the gas and electric, if you withhold that direct debit that month, you've got more control over that company than they have. They can't get anything.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they go, oh, I never thought of that. I'll say, so you've actually got loads more control.
Have you ever used that? Withdrawn a direct debit?
Have I? I've never needed to. I've never needed to. Yeah, there's been discrepancies. When I moved here, there was a bit of mess up, all right, over my billing. But I certainly didn't want to withhold my payment because I knew that between them and us, it would get resolved and sorted out. In fact, this morning, I've just helped a lady that rang me in absolute desperation that she said, I can't afford this direct debit in September. I cannot pay it. I actually physically haven't got the money. It was nearly £400. And what came out of it between her and me speaking to head office, and I did three-way calling, and every time I'll tell you three-way calling's worth its weight in gold. What transpired was she was 168 in credit on her gas, a little bit in deficit on the electric. But what they did was they decided to release the credit on the gas, which would effectively bring down the direct debit for September, but reminding her, remember when you switch on that heating, it's going to get, you know, that's why there is a credit. That's how budget works. And she said, yes, I do know. And they said, well, at the end of the day, it's the fact that you've used more electricity than you did last year. And do you know why they did? Because they were putting a hot tub on. I think the era of the hot tubs are over for many folk.
Yeah.
And she did say, oh, well, we're not going to switch it on anymore. And I thought, well, you've been using it through the summer. And this is one of the items that really, you know, I went through stuff with her, like kettles, making sure you only use what you cups, you know, don't boil the whole kettle and you only use a cup of it. Stuff like that, which is just handy for folk. But between us, between the chap in the energy department, myself, and it was resolved and she didn't have to cancel the direct debit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I actually think, Alan, when people say I don't want to put my eggs in one basket, it's another word for no, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Chris.
Yeah, just on the rare occasions when you do get a no-show and they don't answer their phone, what is your response? Do you leave a voicemail? Do you send a text? What do you do?
I love it. I love it. I'm so glad you asked me this. Yes. So what I do is I ring. Supposing I've driven there, right? I'd say, let's say the person was Chris. I'd say, hi, Chris, it's Lisa Ware. I'm outside your door. Oh my gosh, I think something terrible's happened because I could tell you were never the sort of person that would let me down. I hope you're okay. Please let me know you're not injured. And you know what? I always get a response. Cunning, but true. Think about it, or send a message to that effect. You will get a response because they can't bear the thought that you're in angst and worried about their health, that something's happened to them, because that would be the only reason that they would let you down.
Very good.
All right,
Yeah.
guys, we're 8 minutes over. We better call it there. I hope that was helpful.
Yeah.
This has been recorded, and next week will be the last one, and then it will skip a week because I will be in Seville in Spain on the 500+ club, so there'll be a week off. All right, yes, quickly, Lindsay.
I see somebody's just become 700+. How did he do that?
That's probably Chandler Jones, and he's got a fantastic incentive, and it's all about his brother that's autistic, and he's
yeah.
going nuts. Yeah, I think today
700.
I sit on 669 today, but I'm not going out to just keep getting customers. But yeah, it's proof it could be done. There you go. Happy days, everyone. Lovely to see you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.
All the best.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.